Welcome to another video. In this video we will continue from our last session, and in the last session we added the sign up and login functionality, and the user is now stored in the session and we can access the user. So in this video we will continue from there, and first we will show the user info, which user is currently logged in, and we will also add the log out functionality, and we will also link the user that is logged in with the post that he creates. So before starting, if you are not subscribed my channel, please subscribe. So let's go back to the VS Code. So here when the user is logged in, we have to show the username here, and then beside that we will show the logout link. So let's remove this search form, and we will use the search form in the here, so that we can search the post, but we will add this functionality later on. So let's go back to our nav bar. So let's copy this nav bar and move it in a partial. We can render the partial here, and the partial name will be of nav bar. Okay, and then we can, in the layouts, we can add our partial, and the partial name always starts from underscore. That's the real convention. And where we have to render is, we only need to use the nav bar instead of the underscore. So in this nav bar partial, we can paste our nav bar, and then if we refresh, we have to specify the complete URL. So the URL should be in the views and then layouts. So we can specify the layouts and then in the nav bar. If we refresh, everything is working fine, so it means that it is rendered properly. So if we go back before showing the username here, let's go back to our application, in the application storage, and let's clear it so that no user is currently should be logged in. Okay, and then in the form here, let's replace this form with the UL, right? Let's copy this UL from here and remove this ME auto, and then in the next we can actually copy the links, and here we will display the name of the user that is logged in. So but how we can get the user from the session? So if we go to the application controller, here we will add some methods, some helper methods that we can use. So first method will be current user. Current user means that the user that is currently logged in. Okay, user dot find by or find session of user ID. Okay, and then we can have like one more method that is signed in, or user signed in, and then we have a question mark. Why I added this question mark? Because this method should return true or false, means that if the user is logged in, it should return true, otherwise if the user is not logged in, it should return false. And here we can check if the user is present, right? We can use double symbols here, the double not, it will invert this user object, and it will actually show true. It will return true if there is not nil, and if there is nil, it will return false. Okay, so let's go back, and then in the nav bar, here we can display the and then before here we can have actually the helper method. We can make these methods helper. The helper method would be current user. I think so. Let's refresh. And then we can call the method here in the view, current underscore user, right? And then current user dot name, right? So if we refresh, it returned Ahmed there because the user is logged in. Let's clear our application. Let's refresh. Okay, so currently no user is logged in. It is saying that if we go back here it is trying to find the user with the session. Now in the session there is nil for the user ID, so it is saying that no user could not find user without an ID. So what we have to do is we have to first check if there is anything in the session ID, otherwise we should return nil. We can return nil unless session of user ID. If we refresh, and then we should get another error. Here you can see that it is trying to call the name on the current user, but in the current user we return the nil, right? And we can't call the nil on the we can't call the name on the nil. So here we can add a safe navigation operator. So if we refresh, you can see nothing is showing. So now if we go back to the login, let's continue, and let's remove the debugger from session controller in the host controller, and then debugger from here. Okay, let's sign in and if I log in, you can see that the name is showing here. It means that this user is currently logged in. And it also shows this message, welcome, you are now logged in. Let's try to remove these links and add the links like login and sign up here. Let's go back to the nav bar and remove this drop down. We don't need it. and then we also don't need this disabled link. Okay, and for the first link we can show sign in, and the URL should be, we should take the user to the sign in. I think we have this login path. Okay, and the other URL should be sign up. Right, if we check the routes, yeah, we have sign up and login. If we refresh here, you can see that we have the sign in and sign up, but currently the user is logged in, right? We should not show these links if the user is logged in, right? So let's, before showing the links, we can check if the user is logged in. We can call the same method that we created in the application controller, and then we can also add one more method here, that is user underscore signed in. And then in the nav bar we can actually add the unless, means if the user is not logged in, then show these URLs, otherwise don't show them, right? Let's refresh. Undefined method user signing. If we go back to the application controller, the method name should be this one. Okay, so the help, why we created helper method, because these can be accessible in the views and throughout the application. So unless user is signed in, here we can actually change this, go to the application controller and change this logic here. We can check if return user dot present, it means that user is signed in. So let's refresh. So why the links are not removing, let's debug it, and here we can add a debugger. Let's refresh and let's go to the terminal. Okay, and then let's call this method here. User signed in means that it returned false, but it should return true. We can call this one instead, call the method here current user dot present, and we can change the variable name to current underscore user. Okay, let's continue and refresh again. Okay, if we go back here and try to call this method again, now it returned true, means that user is now logged in, and unless it will invert this condition and it will not show, it will make this condition false and it will not show the links. If we continue and go back to the browser, you can see that because the user is now logged in, it did not show the links sign up and login. Okay, let's remove the debugger. And if we go back here, okay, so now let's add a logout. Okay, in the routes, for the logout we can actually create a delete request. The request would be go to logout, and we can route this request to the sessions and hash destroy, right? Because we want to remove the session or destroy the session, so we can create a method with the name destroy in the sessions controller. And then here we can create a new method destroy, and in the destroy what we can do is we can remove the user from the session, SESSION, session of user ID. We can set it to nil, right? And then we can add a message, flash of notice, logout successfully, right? And then we can redirect the user to the root path. And then first we have to show the logout link. So if the user is signed in, then don't show the links, and we can here check if user is signed in, then show the logout link. Because user is logged in, they have to now log out. That's why if we check if the user is signed in, means that user is present in the session, we will have this. Let's add a link to, and the name will be delete, and the route would be logout. Okay, and then data of I already showed you how to create the delete link. So data dash turbo underscore method is delete, right? And then we can also add some classes to style the link. Let's add the so first wrap it into a li. On the li we can add this class, and on the link we can add this nav-link class. So yeah, we refresh. The delete should not be delete, but it should be sign out. It is showing on this side, but instead it should show besides the name. So we can cut from here and paste it here. Okay, and then the name should be logout. If we refresh, so we have this now logout link. It will send a delete request to the sessions destroy controller, and it will remove the user from the session and then redirect. So if I log out, you can see that it shows this message logged out successfully, and the name and logout link are removed because the user is not logged in, and now user is not logged in, so sign in and sign up links are showing. So if I sign in again, you can see these links are now showing and these are removed. Okay, so our this functionality is completed. Now what we have to do is we have to link the post with the current user. So what we have to do is first we have to add the user ID in the post so that we can link the user with each post. So let's create it means that if we go to check our post model table, we should have the user ID in this table. So let's create a migration. Let's generate migration, add user ID to post, right, and then we can write user dot references. It means that it will add the user as a foreign key. So if I hit enter, it created this migration. Let's copy it and go to the VS Code. Okay, so if we open the migration, you can see it add this reference. It will create runs the query to add a foreign key in the table post, and the user will be not null and the foreign key is true. Why this foreign key added a foreign key? So that if the for example, if the this column should not be updated, means that the user, if any user record that is present in the users table should only be linked with the post. If any user record that is not present in the users table should not be linked in the post table. So it's a kind of a validation. Let's run the raise db migrate. So we got an error. Okay, so let's try to understand this error. It is saying that SQLite constraint exception, not null constraint failed, post.userid. So what it is saying that you said that this user should not null, and null is false, but for the existing posts, user ID is null. So either we have to delete those posts or we have to update those posts, right? But currently we can't update them because this user ID is not added in the post table yet. So we can actually delete those posts. So let's refresh. It is saying that one migration is pending. So what we can do, let's try to remove this migration first and go back to here, and let's go back to our root path and let's try to delete the posts, right? And yeah, now let's run this command again. Let's create the migration again. So let's copy this migration and open it. So the other way for the workaround was we can set this to null true, and the foreign key should be true. So when we set this null to true, means that this value user ID in the post table can also be null, right? Then in that case, when the null is true, then we don't need to delete the existing post because for those posts user ID is already null. So but we don't want to have any post without the user. So we added this null to false, and now if we run db migrate again, now you can see that migration has run successfully. If we refresh, so everything is working fine. So now let's go open up the new post, and let's go to our post controller. So in the post controller, when we are creating, before saving, we have to link the post with the current user. Post dot current underscore user, sorry, post dot user id is equal to current user dot id. Okay, if we refresh, and now if I create a post, first post, and then test body, if we create the post is created. Let's go to our console and check post dot last. You can see that now the user id is 1, means that the user that is logged in has the id of 1. So we can find the user dot find of 1. So it returned this user. Okay, so let's add one more thing here. For example, if I get the last post last, and then if I want to get the user, you can see that it is saying undefined method user for the instance of post, but let's add an association. If we go back to the post, here we can specify our association, and the post is belongs to right user, and in the user model we can have the association of has many posts, right? Because one this user id can be present in multiple posts. Okay, now if we go to the post dot last and then call the user, it return the complete user object. So our associations are added. Let's refresh, and let's try to display the username in the table. If we go to the index of posts, and after the body, let's add a user column, and here we can call the post dot user and then the name, right? If we refresh, you can see that the user is now Ahmed. So we have now linked the user with the post, added the displayed the username here, added the logout, login and sign up functionality, and if I log out, you can see that user is now logged out, but we can also user can also create the post. This post will not be saved, but we should also remove this button, and user should also not be able to go to the post and the new form, because now the posts are linked with the user and the user id is not null. So but if I just show you, if I try to add a dummy post, if I create the post, you can see that we got this error, current user id means that current user is nil, means user is not logged in. So we will fix this one, and we will also add the authorization in the next video, and which we will only allow the user that created the post to be able to edit and delete, and one user that who created the post should be only able to delete and edit the post. Other posts should not be deleted by that user, because those posts belongs to the other user. So I hopefully you have learned something new in this video and you have enjoyed it. So please subscribe my channel, and I will see you in the next video.